up, guys? Today we are reacting to a video called Why Primark is Thriving While Retailers like Forever 21 are Closing. So this video has gone trending because everybody's like under this impression that retailers are dying, right? Which seems to be true from everything we've seen, like malls are dying, brick and mortars are dying. This is a company that only does in-store purchases. You can't even buy online. They don't even give you the option to buy online.
Damn.
And it's thriving in the UK, and they just launched in America. And so, super interesting concept, kind of like the reverse of what I would think would make sense to do. But let's see what the reasoning is and I guess how they're so successful.
I've never heard of it before.
Let's say you wanted to buy this Primark t-shirt. If you're shopping on Primark's website, you'll quickly discover that you can't. Over the past 10 years, e-commerce sales have more than doubled. But last year, European fast fashion retailer Primark made $9.5 billion in sales revenue without a single penny from online shopping.
We made a very clear choice, and our clear choice is bricks and mortar.
This comes at an uncertain time for struggling clothing retailers. Retailers like Forever 21, JCPenney, and Neiman Marcus have closed.
So you know what's crazy is that, like, literally that's the reason why, like, Blockbuster went out of business, and like all these, Radio Shacks and all that, they went out of business because they didn't, do what the current thing is. These people are doing the opposite of what everybody is doing and how to make money. I mean, online is where you make all. Amazon's like the richest company in the world. Like, they're, it's so weird that this company is doing that and they could do so well. I mean, what's really cool though is on the reverse side is that a lot of companies that like do the opposite of what makes sense do really well. But this doesn't make sense to do well, like doing something because this is something totally different.
I think what you're referring to is like they do the opposite on purpose and like yell it out loud. This company, like, that's just their business strategy.
Yeah.
Like, they're not really doing it to like let people know or trying to bring it back into the store. You know what I mean? That's not part of their marketing, I'd assume.
It's weird. I mean, I saw some of the prices. Some of them look pretty cheap. So I don't know if they're just super cheap or why people want to go in the store.
And I saw that. I noticed that as well. And I wonder, is for whatever reason, being in a brick and mortar as opposed to online make those goods cheaper? I couldn't imagine that being the case.
No way. It's way cheaper to ship it. All right, let's see.
Closed stores and filed for bankruptcy. And while a UBS report shows up to 80,000 retail stores will close in the next 5 years, Primark plans to expand to 60 stores in the same time frame.
Is driving 2 hours from Toronto to Buffalo to shop at Primark worth it? Heck yes, I used to fly 6 hours to do so.
So how is Primark expanding without online shopping? This is the economics of Primark.
Fashion retailer is incredibly competitive, more so than ever. There's not many players, especially in fast fashion, that are making fat margins. Pretty much the thinking everywhere is that you have to have this online presence.
But online shopping is actually incredibly expensive for retailers.
You have to have a logistical hub from which you would dispatch the goods, and then you probably have a local distribution center from which you have to do last mile delivery.
So I don't know if this is definitely true. I mean, literally, this guy's pretty smart. I'm sure he knows more than me about this stuff. Yeah. But I did a lot of retail and a lot of shipping, and you don't have to have a distribution center and logistics hub. I mean, why can't you just have a store? This is what we did. We had a store with a little warehouse in the back, but why couldn't you have a retail store and just have like people that go and just pick orders from the store and ship it out? Like, why do you have to have a distribution?
And Amazon does that. Amazon does that with Whole Foods. If you ever order
Whole Foods.
Food,
why can't you do that with any other retail store?
Yeah, like it would add no cost, no overhead.
Yeah, you don't need distribution hubs and logistics hubs and all this stuff. You could just literally have people. I see all the time when you order stuff at a grocery store, that's what they do.
Yeah. It also doesn't make a whole lot of sense because, like, one, this company did $9.5 billion in revenue. That's a lot. I mean, Amazon's able to do it. If these companies are able to do it at like a fraction of the cost, because like it's cheaper to get stuff through Amazon than to get it at a store.
Way cheaper. It's way cheaper to have just a distribution center and ship everything. I mean, if you do it right. Now, a lot of people might do it wrong.
Right.
But
and they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah. Maybe that's what brings people in there. They know they can't get online. So playing hard to get, that's what you want. So I don't know if that is part of the lore, but
Step of that just is an extra layer of cost that just eats away at the margin, which in fashion is very, very slim anyway. But the real killer for e-commerce is that somebody who buys something on the internet is far more likely to return that product than somebody who goes into a store.
Returns are one of the biggest profit losses.
So that makes sense. That makes sense. If one of the reasons why it's not good to have online stores because every single time you buy, I guess it's a lot higher. People are just trigger happy. They like buying shit, not because they want it, just because it's fun.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, you know what? Let's return and get something else.
They also know, like, it's a hassle-free return. Like, Amazon's the easiest thing to return to. You can drop it off at any location 5 minutes away from you, and you don't have to interact with the person.
Right.
You just press a button, they get a label, and then you ship it. That's it. With the store, you have to go to them, talk to somebody, almost like haggle your way to a refund.
Right. So it's not worth it. Yeah, that would definitely make most people not want to do it. Right. There.
And I wonder how much that eats into like their profits.
The returns.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why these stores don't have a policy, start doing policies where you can't, or it costs money to return stuff, or you make money on the return.
Yeah, restocking fee.
Something just to make it towards because I mean, obviously, most people. Almost everyone takes advantage of it, and it's like, doesn't make sense. You have to ship it there, ship it. I mean, there's a lot of costs involved.
Definitely.
Losses for online retailers. On average, processing a return for $100 worth of merchandise bought online costs a company $26.50.
Holy shit.
For years, online retailers just ate these expenses. Only now are more of them deciding to pass the cost back to the consumer.
Primark have just said right from the beginning, we don't think we can make.
Hey, yeah, you have to. That's what we just talked about. Like, it really makes no sense. The only reason why they don't pass it on before is because maybe if Amazon didn't do it, people are like, oh shit, if Amazon does it, I can't do it.
Right.
But at some point, you just start losing money or not making money. You have to start doing it.
They just had 26.5%.
That's
they
crazy.
lose if someone returns something.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Because it costs money to ship it, it costs money to pull it, the labor, then to return it, then to check it in, then a lot of times you can't resell it. A lot of times, then
you're like liquidating it somehow. Yeah.
Make money out of e-commerce. We're not even going to try. We're going to focus all our resources on the physical store and protect our margins.
And that would
look at these prices: $4, $7, $6.50. Those are cheap prices.
So that's one thing that I will say that doesn't make a lot of sense. The cheaper the good, the lower the returns. That's like always. It just makes sense. It's not worth the hassle to even go to a thing down the street to do it. So like even with these prices, like maybe the average is 26.5%. I don't think it would be for this personally. I don't think people would be returning it the way they'd be returning more expensive goods.
You mean even if they ordered online?
Yeah.
Wasn't an issue for the retailer until
now Primark is expected to close all 189 of its UK stores tonight, and it doesn't have an online offering to fall back on.
E-commerce was a lifeline for a lot of retailers during the pandemic. They couldn't open their stores, but they were still able to make some sales on the internet.
But Primark didn't budge, even as consumers urged for it to offer online shopping, and even after its revenue dropped by almost £2 billion.
And I think that
can't make sense. Like, that can't make sense.
It just makes no sense. Yeah, it's just stubborn. It's like Chick-fil-A. Like, they don't want to open on Sunday. It's just stupidity. It's stupidity. Like, there's no good reason to not open on Sunday. There's no good reason to not do...
They lost $2 billion in revenue.
It's insane.
That's insane. I mean, how much would it have cost for them just to, like... I don't know.
Sometimes someone just puts something in their head that they just can't do it or don't want to do it. And, like, for just for their... self, like they said, like I'm not going to do it. I'm proving to everybody I'm not going to do it. They just do it. It's out of stupidity. It's out of spite. Yeah. It's not for any good reason.
Because it's so funny too. Like companies used COVID as a trial period.
Yeah.
They're like, we're fucked regardless. So might as well just try some out of the box shit. Because the worst case scenario is we're still fucked regardless.
Exactly.
You know?
No. Yeah. Exactly.
Confidence in this model of having no digital sales and only using stores, I think, was probably shaken by the pandemic. Who knows what would have happened if it had gone on for longer. I think the closures weren't quite long enough to really tip the scales and force them to fundamentally rethink the model.
Instead of traditional online shopping, in 2022, Primark launched a trial service called Click and Collect in select UK stores.
Customers can select certain products online, then pick up their orders in store. So Primark still has some costs to maintain its website, but it's cheaper than running a true online shop.
So Primark makes a sale, but they don't have any of the logistical costs that would be involved in packing it up and then shipping it out.
It's sort of like what we just talked about. You use the store to pull the order, but instead of shipping it, you just have to pick it up.
Yeah, which, I mean, the thing is you're niching down the audience with such a small cost. Like, you could have just shipped it to them, and now you opened up the range of people that are willing to buy from you.
Yeah, or if they don't want to ship it, maybe they have, like, some sort of fee where they could just bring it to their home, like, you know. Because, like, just like groceries.
Yeah, like a DoorDash almost.
Yeah, DoorDash.
You know, the one funny thing, too, that I just realized, and this is huge, by not having online markets, you're limiting to where you have brick and mortars.
Of course.
Meaning, before they opened the United States, no one from the United States was buying their shit. Why the fuck would you do that?
I mean, the only way you could do that is if, like, people would buy it and sell it in a secondary market. Like, the reason why this would make sense is if, like, okay, I could buy something for $5, And then, but now since you have to go there to get it, I can resell it for $8 all over the country because you can only get it in one spot.
Yeah,
that would be the only thing, but I don't think that's happening. I don't know.
The small goods, or these cheap goods.
Right.
Out to your home.
And there's another bonus for Primark. Since the customer has to go inside to collect their purchase, they're likely to browse around and maybe even buy more.
They make the sale online, but then they have a good chance of making some extra sales when that person visits them.
Consumer psychologists call this shopping momentum. Essentially, once you've already decided to make a purchase, it's easier to justify adding more to your cart.
It always feels just overwhelmingly busy with people who are in there looking for bargains.
And it's not just clothing. Primark lures consumers with beauty, home, and travel products similar to a department store.
What we like to say about Primark here in the US is that, we're all treasure without the hunt.
So customers may go in for a new t-shirt and leave with a suitcase.
But a Primark that I can drive to and don't have to fly to is a dream, because that means there's no limit to what I can buy and bring home.
To carry this vast selection of items, Primark finds large retail spaces
because it relies on selling a lot. It's one of the largest retailers in the UK by volume and one of the largest across all of Europe.
Last year, Primark made about $9.5 billion in sales revenue, in part by selling a lot of...
So, obviously this makes sense, but they said that they rely mostly on volume. A brick and mortar is like the worst place to be able to get volume now.
For sure, because you have to physically go there.
Right.
And you have to be within driving distance.
Like, how does it make... every single thing I'm hearing...
I'm trying to figure it out while I'm watching it, and as they show more and more products they sell, and the pricing is really low.
Yeah.
I got to think that people go there because the pricing. Walmart was so popular because they were cheaper than everybody else.
Right.
So that's why...
It almost reminds me of like an H&M.
Yeah.
Where it's really low cost goods, and they're probably shittier quality, but people buy them because they're super cheap.
Yeah, the main difference I see between this particular Primark and then all these other stores they're saying are closing down, Forever 21s, all these different things, is that these other stores are just a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So their pricing is what's bringing the people in.
Things at low profit margins. And it does this by sourcing a lot of its clothing from Asia. Combined with not offering online shopping, this enables Primark to sell its merchandise at lower prices, even lower than many other
Yeah, look how much cheaper they are. See,
that's crazy.
It's literally compared to the Gap, they're 1/5 the price almost.
That's
they're
wild.
20% of the price of the Gap. They're almost 20% the price of Express. Old Navy, they're less than half the price.
They're even cheaper than H&M, which in my eyes is one of the cheaper stores you could shop at.
Yeah,
that's wild.
That's crazy. I've never been to an H&M. Is that another?
Yeah, it's a very similar concept, and they're H&M is very cheap.
They're almost half.
Yeah, and that's wild. And like I said, H&M is considered the cheap store in the mall.
Really? I like Marshalls. I know Marshalls. I've been to Marshalls.
Well, Marshalls has name brands, but I'd say H&M's even cheaper than that. You can get a shirt for $4.
Okay. So they don't have any name brands at all.
No, it's all H&M type of products. They're branded H&M. Yeah.
Okay.
Fast fashion retailers.
Where they do have serious rivals on price is with the digital-only players like Shein, for example. They are often even cheaper than Primark.
But according to the National Retail Federation, 80% of shopping still happens in store, giving Primark an edge over its digital-only competitors. Even so, its in-store shopping model got off to a rocky start in the US. Primark...
Did I just say 80% of shopping still happens in stores?
Yeah, that's what they said. You wouldn't think that.
How could that be true?
Because most people that are older than you're right. You're only 22 or whatever, 23 now. But most people that are my age for sure are older, and even 10 years younger than me probably mostly shop in stores.
Yeah, I would have guessed it's a majority for sure. I wouldn't have said that online sales are more than in person, but 80% is crazy. That means only 20%. That's wild.
Yeah, the younger people majority of younger people might order online, but I think once you get in your 30s and older, then a lot of younger 30s probably shop in store. But once you get to mid older 30s, most of them, and then once you get in their 40s.
40s and above are probably all in-store purchases.
Not all, but
most
crazy, 90-some%. Yeah. And there's a lot of old people. A lot of people of my age.
Primark opened its first US store in Boston back in 2015.
Although it was already popular in the UK, its US expansion started slowly. Over 4 years, it opened 9 stores. After years of experimentation, Primark learned it would have to change to succeed in the US.
When we first opened, we took a similar store size that we would have had in Europe.
But when Primark opened its stores across the Northeast, it struggled to find the right store density.
What they found in the US is that retail is so much more competitive. There's a lot more retail in downtown areas in the US than there is in the UK, for example. So you just can't support a massive store. It's just not possible to get enough revenue for the size.
To support its large store sizes, it needed a lot of foot traffic. But unlike the UK stores, which were located in constantly busy areas, US stores were mostly in malls, where during the week, foot traffic dwindled.
We learned that actually 35,000 square foot of retail selling space is actually the sweet spot for us.
They didn't face the commercial pressure that a publicly owned company might have faced to suddenly open 100 stores and get really big really quickly and then possibly risk.
So they're saying that they're not publicly traded?
Yeah, that means they're privately owned.
Holy crap, and they're doing that kind of money? They're privately owned?
That's wild.
That's got to be one of the bigger privately owned companies.
companies.
Yeah, there's not many that do those kind of numbers that are privately owned.
9.5 billion in revenue.
That was in the UK.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Disaster because they hadn't thought it through.
The culture of Primark has always been to take our time and to test and learn, and we've done that in every country where we've introduced the brand. This wasn't about, growing market share at all costs.
And the overall retail market is shifting. Online shopping hit a peak during COVID, but now growth is beginning to slow as people return to stores.
And I think that's never been...
Would you have thought that?
The thing is, she just said that, but this chart shows like a spike and then just flat.
Yeah, that's what she said. They said it just went flat.
Yeah.
They said like every year before COVID it was going up. And COVID it spiked, and then it came down a little bit after COVID, and then just kind of stays the same now.
Yeah.
I would have thought that it still would go up a little bit every year.
Yeah. I guess the thing is like COVID probably accelerated it very quickly, and now we're hitting the plateau until the growth would have picked up where it was supposed to naturally, probably, Because that's a fast increase.
Yeah.
So important as it is since we came out of COVID. I think there has been a massive rediscovery of being in malls, being together, physical shopping. And I think as a business that took the decision a long time ago to have that as our core strategy, it has continued to allow us to be successful.
Do you think this stuff is cheaper than Walmart?
Honestly, I haven't been to a Walmart in a while, but based on the prices that I saw in this video, I couldn't imagine it being more expensive.
Yeah. It looks as cheaper than Walmart.
Yeah. Which is wild. It almost reminds me, I don't know why, it reminds me like the IKEA of clothes.
Yeah.
Where
it
it's
reminds me. I was thinking IKEA the whole time. When I was watching it, I'm like IKEA.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the same exact thing. All right.
So, I'm very impressed. Obviously, it's a privately owned company doing billions of dollars in revenue. So, clearly they've done super well for themselves. I wouldn't mimic that strategy though. That's a scary strategy.
It's an insane strategy. It's gonna bite them in the ass at some point.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised COVID wasn't the thing that woke them up from this crazy principle.
If I had to make a bet, I would bet that they're not gonna be as successful as they think they're gonna be with this strategy. Going long term.
Especially in the United States. The United States, I know for a fact, is a huge online consumer.
Yep.
So, I don't think that this is the right market to have targeted with that strategy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below, and let us know other videos you want to see us react to. We actually read our comments, so if you guys genuinely want us to watch something, we'll look through and we'll definitely react to it.